Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today we're gonna be looking at the brand new Dogmatika deck. Really talking about the YuGiOh though, and the rest of the support is just kind of more support to actually bust out the card. But Dogmatika is one of the newer cards. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys some gameplay here in a second. And the last duel is absolutely amazing. But starting right off, I gotta explain some of the cards because the text, you guys know how YuGiOh Pro has an error sometimes with some of the newer stuff. But anyways, Dogmatika is just basically you can add a Dogmatika ritual monster or a ritual spell from your deck to your hand, and then if your opponent controls a monster, you can add a Dogmatika card from your deck to your hand, and then once per turn, if you control a Dogmatika ritual monster, get a look at either player's extra deck and send one monster from it to the graveyard. So the main goal right here is showing off how busted and broken the YuGiOh is. I already talked about, a lot of people were like, dude, I'm quitting YuGiOh because of this card. So the reason why this card is so good is the turn you summon it, you're going to be activating one of these effects. So you send one card from their hand and or extra to the graveyard for every 2 cards in their extra deck, their choice. So basically, turn 1, you summon this, your opponent loses half of their extra deck or their entire hand. More likely, they're going to choose their extra deck. Now, it could be a double-edged sword, which you guys are about to see, or if they don't have those requirements, you bounce back everything that they have that's from the Fusion, Synchro, Exceeds, and Link monsters they control to the extra deck, if they can't meet those other requirements. So, yeah, you force your opponent to make one of those decisions. So I got a couple different decks here. I'll give you guys multiple different gameplays here, but let's go ahead and get started. So, in terms of like, is it good? I'm going to answer this question right now. I mean, if you make it turn 1, it's pretty much GG against certain archetypes. Like, for example, any like Synchro deck, like I said before, remember how like the YuGiOh Pro error, you can see this question marks right now because the card does get updated. But I explained the effect. This is just like the searcher, and you can maybe dump one card out of their extra deck, but you want to, of course, try to go for this card's effect, turn 1. Look at that. Like, half his extra deck is gone. Now, keep in mind, depending on the matchup, it's a double-edged sword because your opponent could be getting a bunch of free cards, or they could get extra effects, like in chest over here, the Elder Entity, you're able to pop a card on the field. If your opponent happens to be playing certain cards, the extra deck, they have some sort of bonus when they hit the grave, or they need these targets for, I don't know, Miracle Synchro Fusion. There are certain times where it might not be actually in your benefit to do it, but from the most part, it is worth it. Then there's also the White Knight of Dogmatika, which lets you further send cards from their extra deck to the graveyard. So if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can send one monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. And if you do, look at your opponent's extra deck and send another monster from it to the graveyard. So basically, you're getting almost a little bit more than half of their extra deck already just taken out, pretty much just right off the bat. And again, Synchro archetypes cannot deal with this. There's a lot of different decks that need stepping stones, and if you get rid of the stepping stones, then they can't make their boss monsters. But if you get rid of their boss monsters, well, then the stepping stones don't matter at all. So it makes it for a very interesting matchup. The first duel over here is pretty spicy, but the last one is the icing on the cake, which we'll get to in a second here. So anyways, yeah, Dogmatika over here, just basically out-resourcing the opponent, and on top of that, it's always been a deck that's kind of like anti-extra deck at the end of the day. But if you get rid of like a bunch of stuff and the stuff already stops the extra deck, and this card has really good stats too. The YuGiOh is a 4,000, so pretty much if you get rid of any card that can get rid of the card that's in the extra deck, and then you just have a 4,000, most people's strongest and best monsters are going to be in the extra deck, so that's why that, you know, it's a pretty good card, and it is also level 12. Oh, this is going to go for Patchwork. That card is just getting so much play and a lot of different things, but he just lost out on his other light card. So, like, Pauperization probably not going to be doing so hot in his hand when, well, what are you going to poly for, right? Unless, of course, you can poly from the graveyard. There's certain archetypes that let you maybe use materials in the graveyard as, you know, fodder for whatever you're going for. You still happen to have a Dragostapelia up on the board, but we've got the 4,000, which is still pretty decent monster for the stats. He's going to go ahead and activate that effect, pop in the back row. Then we're going to go ahead and special summon Xian over here, and pretty much, I mean, at this point, it's pretty much been GG's for a while, I would say in this instance, so he just loses out on his extra deck anyways. He bounced it back because he had no more cards in the extra deck to fulfill the requirement, so he bounces back all of them, but then he just gets rid of them anyway, so you guys see where this deck is going. But I'm going to show you guys another like newer matchup here, so let's go and check it out against a Pendulum deck. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably seen, you know, Pendulum decks before, you know, when they go face up in the extra deck, that actually counts as more cards towards the limit of YuGiOh, so it makes it even stronger over here. So shout out to player for the last one on this one from Nuki over here. A few different builds. I'll give you guys 3 different builds so you guys can go ahead and have access to it. If you guys are interested in the Abyss actors, I literally just dropped the video, so check the most recent video. I know YouTube's been kind of messing up with the whole, like, if you still sub, you don't get videos, but this is just a quick little reminder. If this is your first time here, make sure you guys subscribe with the bell noti on. Sometimes YouTube, yeah, it still doesn't give you notifications, but it's the best way. But yeah, I've already dropped videos of Abyss actors, and Abyss actors is probably going to be a fun archetype. It's pretty decent, though. It's not like a, you know, Crystal Beast level of, like, bad. They have a card where you can't respond to it if you have, like, a higher level Abyss actor. You can basically pop the board, OTKs, quite easy. And you have, like, a few different disruptions, like 3 at most. I wouldn't say it's, like, a consistent 6 negate deck, but because this effect is able to get rid of 8 cards, because there were 16 in the extra deck, or he loses his entire, like, you know, powerful monsters, because it's everything that's like Xyz, Synchros, Links. It basically gets rid of most of the things in the game. But this one has like a little quick if I get rid of a card. But yeah, White Zoa with 4,000. I mean, it's going to be OTK consistently for the most part. Because look at these monsters attack. It can get pretty insane. So like I said, save the best for last, and I'll also give you guys the deck profile here in a moment. So the reason why I like this last duel over here, courtesy of FT's build. So he's going to go ahead and just go for Virtuous, and we're gonna go see the Ritual come out. So it's like more of a Ritual deck, which is interesting now that we have the brand new support. And it really just comes down to this card, White Zoa, being so busted. Like, I mean, just turn 1, bam, you lose half your extra deck. I mean, you could lose out your hand, but like everyone's selecting the extra deck realistically, unless like they're playing a deck that they need, that maybe they're playing Infernities, right, and they get rid of all the cards as well. That could be maybe a spicy option than top deck Archfiend and making a game. So he's gonna go ahead and change that Super Poly, going in for Quartus. Quartus, pretty good card. And then we got the additional of the Enchest being able to pop another card and getting rid of another card at the extra. So like turn 1, this guy basically went through all of his cards. He lost half of his cards, and then he even had the Super Poly, but then he's going to lose an additional card because of the White Knight of Dogmatika, trying to get rid of another card over here. So he's got 4 cards left. He's going for the Beast over here, and we see the Punishment activated, getting rid of another card in chest, able to now select the Ice Blade, but Ice Blade said, nope, not happening, and he's going to survive. But he's only got 4 cards left, and then we have the pre-prep of Rights over here, and he's going to go ahead and search out. So he's got 3 cards left in the extra deck over here, and we're going to see the Dogmatika once again, the White Zoa coming out, and he's going to go ahead and say, well, I'll just get rid of one of the cards over there. But then we're going to go ahead and get rid of another card. So he's only got 1 card left in the extra deck, but there is, of course, this card out on the board. It's 4,000. So it's just like the stats on it are super, super strong. For any deck, you need to get rid of it ASAP, because, well, you don't want to just start losing more cards out in your deck. So he's got no more cards in the extra deck over here. And the other player, he's got another Dark Ruler no more up his sleeve. If he does survive this turn, we should say. But he's going to go activate that rebrand and go to the battle phase and attack over. And, well, I just can't attack over. Like, the stats on this card are just simply too strong. He's going to go ahead and activate this. Now, this is where it becomes spicy. He's like, well, you got no more cards in your extra deck. You know what that means? A bounce back everything. So this is a really good use of the other effect. Like, I showed you guys tons of different effects. This card just getting rid of everything. But since he has none, he cannot select, send something out, if that makes any sense, because you have to send 1 for every 2 cards in your extra deck. But if you have no extra deck, I was thinking that if you could somehow activate this effect while your opponent like has an extra deck, but you banish it mid-activation, like there's that card, I think it was like in builds of like Eater of Millions, Grand Majda, Iza. If you can like time it at certain intervals with maybe some certain combos, the whole idea is to get rid of your opponent's entire extra deck, or their hand would be ideal. But again, you guys have seen time and time, they just select their extra deck, which is understandable because you don't want to lose out on all your cards, because you'd have to send 7 cards from your hand to the graveyard if you don't select the extra deck effect. But if there's a way where it makes it so your opponent cannot send cards from their extra deck and it only allows from the hand, there's got to be some way to do it. But like I said, shout out to FT for this one, and as well as my homie Riv for hooking me up with the gameplays for this. But yeah, like I said, I got several different builds. I'll include them all via the Discord one-click download link. I'll mouse over them. But again, the highlights of the new cards, I did go over their effects over there. The FGD over there as well. Oops. Okay, so this was Dark Magician here. Okay, so here's the first one. Like I said, I'll mouse over them relatively quick. And then this is the second one. And yeah, you can mix and match maybe a few different cards. You look at that, change a heart in there. Imagine going second, stealing your opponent's best extra deck card, and then ruining the rest of their extra deck. Very, very powerful stuff indeed. I actually didn't go with the extra deck for the second one, so there is the second one. And then the last one over here. So pretty much most of them are going to be like somewhat similar. I mean, the goal maintains to be the same. You make the white Zoa and you make your opponent just question playing this game. Because I know when this card got announced, I saw people saying, dude, they went too far with this card. But let me know, guys, what you think. Did they take white Zoa too far? I think the card is still definitely broken and busted. Against certain matchups, it's literally GG if you play against like most synchro decks. Synchro decks need all their stepping stones to make their combos. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here and you do want to see more videos in the future, subscribe to the bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.